Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher. And on today's episode, we're going to be discussing how to go from a 20% close rate to a 65% close rate with Chuck Thokey. Chuck, thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Man, thanks so much, Phil. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So Chuck is the founder and CEO of Top Rep. They got this awesome boot camp sales program to literally be the top rep. He was the head of sales at Able Roofing. He took them from 28% to over 45% close rate. He was also the VP of sales and marketing for Bath Fitter. And I would say from a sales perspective, he's probably one of the go-to coaches in the world, even North America. So he's got a wealth of knowledge. He's going to help us out tremendously today. So I guess, Chuck, can you share with us, you started at Bath Fitters. Did you start as a salesperson or were you running the sales team or how did that come about?
I was actually brought in as the sales and marketing VP.
Oh, okay. And how did you, were they not performing and you came in and you built it to a decent level, or what was the progression like?
They were simply needing that position. So we were able to fill that position. I came out of mortgage, where I was a national manager there.
Okay.
And they just wanted me to do what I did for mortgage, and that's what we did.
Wow. So at Bath Fitters, how many sales reps did you have?
Here in the Ohio, so my main territory was Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and then I consulted down the East Coast and out west. But for the most part, we had 12 or 13 inside of our areas.
Yeah, very good. And so then you went into roofing from there. And tell me a little bit about the roofing side. Is it different from the bath space? I could imagine it's a lot more details.
No, it's different, but it's not. I mean, it's obviously it's a different trade, but there's a different way of managing roofing because roofing is really more of it's a quicker sale, even though both of them are one call close. Roofing is a much easier sale. There's no doubt because there's really not a lot of moving parts. And when you mentioned that they went from 28 to 45, actually within 6 months, we took them from 28 to over 60%.
Wow.
In 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what would you say are some of the things that helped with that? Was there low hanging fruit when you came in?
No, they had a very mature, very good sales team. The problem is that everybody was doing their own thing. They weren't really being managed very well. And so for me to come in, it was a little bit, it was easier than coming into Bath Fitter. I can tell you that. Going into Bath Fitter, everybody was much older. I was, in my mid 20s. I mean, that was tough.
Yeah.
Tough. But going into Able, I had a good track record. I got I really got the camaraderie of the team early on, which doesn't happen a lot. But also the biggest thing that I did was bring in a lot of training. The training that we did was on point for roofing. It was right down their alley because a lot of them came from Champion Windows when Champion was bought out. But again, they were all doing something different. And we just took them and brought the discipline and the accountability to the point of we're all going to sing one song. I do not, when I go into a team, I typically do not allow this. You go out and sell the way you want to sell. Yeah. That's the thing with sales reps is it's like they all own their own business inside of a business. And that stuff's got to stop. That is for very small organizations, to tell you the truth. And when you see these companies that are growing really fast, or the companies that are already very big, they teach and train one style of selling, one pitch, if you will, and then they master that. And then that's all you do. You can press record in one house and go push play in the other.
Yeah. Is this kind of like the sales roadmap that you talk about? Like having a structure to your roadmap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit about what that looks like and what is a good, sales structure?
So the closing roadmap is simply understanding that you should never lose technique in a house. They should never say something that leaves you speechless.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that it just really gets me when I go out with a sales team is that Homer says, "Well, we need to think about it," and the sales rep loses it. I'm like, dude, we learned that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Catch up. And and if there was this thing that you could use on your computer to just figure out what to say, well, it is. It's called Google.
Mm-hmm.
They won't. They're so lazy. A lot of sales reps are so lazy they won't even go to something like Google and find the answer. They just want to complain about it.
Yeah, I agree. So some things that I heard about when I was researching was like having a trial close and then having a good structure to present the pricing, having some good stalls and excuses to overcome. Can you talk through some of like the trial and close? Like what does that look like in the sales process?
So the trial close is very old. It's one of those things that we keep inside of our sales training mainly because it works so well. And again, most sales reps are too lazy to do it. And it's as easy as just asking the homeowner, Phil, other than the money, is there any reason why we couldn't go ahead and get you on the schedule while I'm here? We have modernized it
Mm-hmm.
because it used to have the word today, which will send a homeowner through the roof just
Yeah.
mentioning the word.
Yeah. Why are you pressuring me? I'm
Yeah.
not ready to make a decision. Yeah.
And it's always no problem. Anytime someone says, I don't like to be pressured, no problem. That's not what I'm here for. Please don't mistake my passion for pushiness. That's not who I am.
Mm.
And so again, that roadmap itself gives you the ability to answer any and all questions and stalls, excuses, objections that are coming at you. It gives you that ability within the organization.
Yeah. So having some trial closes as you're talking about this, then it gets them into the buying mode of things. And then is there a specific way when you present the pricing? Is there a good way to do that? A bad way to do that? How does that look when you,
They're really the only bad way to do it is to send an email. The
okay.
only bad way to present a price is to present it through email. And this is for residential. I always get the commercial guys all riled
Yeah.
up. But, this is residential and you should do it right there in person. Why not? Unless you're going to do a virtual sale. Now, virtual sale is different than a sales rep not doing their job, waiting till they get back to the office and emailing it out. A
Mm.
virtual sale means you never see it other than through Zoom.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of sales that are going that way. A lot of organizations are going to the virtual sale. But other than that, I mean, there's if you're presenting price and you're doing it confidently,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a hard thing. And you don't see the gimmicks much anymore. All the drops, you don't see that much in the house. We only allow 1 to 2 drops in the house, depending on whether you have a retail price, meaning you have a TV commercial that says, "Hey, call today, get 10% off,"
Yeah.
or you're going to go ahead and offer your 30-day price or whatever it is right there at the time of service. So there's the way that you give price is very important. How it comes out of your mouth is very important. Because if you just make it easy enough, they'll buy anything.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of our clients, when they come to us, and I had a guy that, this was several months ago, but he says, "Hey, man, I would love to have those scripts." I'm like, "What's your email? I'll send them to you." Because that's not the magic. The scripts is not the magic. And he's like, "Well, what is it?" I says, "It's that way that you present those scripts. That's the
Right.
magic.
That's
That's
right.
where the implementation comes in. When these organizations come to us, we spend more time on how to give these presentations and these scripts than we do the script itself.
Yeah. So are you using the engage presentation and that kind of stuff to present things or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Engage is and has been for quite a while the premier way of doing a presentation. I have seen some others. I don't like any of them yet.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people try to compete with Engage and they just aren't there yet.
Yeah. I think people have like a pamphlet or something. They're fumbling through their booklet and trying to tie
Yeah.
everything together. I definitely think having a very and then to your point, it's very repetitive. Each salesperson's kind of doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So as far as when you present the price to them, and hopefully it's a one call close, You basically want to get to the stalls and excuses at that point. That's when the selling starts, right, at the objections kind of thing. So what are some of the common stalls and excuses? How do you coach people through overcoming those? Obviously, it's not just script, right? You have to have the conviction, but what have you been seeing?
So the stalls and excuses, these are what we hear just to get us out of the house. The homeowners don't like to make a decision. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
And we also know through research that it only takes right around 2 to 2.5 minutes for a homeowner to make a decision. So when they say, all right, well, you're just going to have to give us some time, what they're telling you is that you need to give them a couple of minutes. And so and this is old, which is the old, the porch light close. It is still one of the strongest closes in the industry. And
How does
all
that
that.
go? What is that like?
So it used to be where we actually use the porch light. Now we just don't know what else to call it. So we call it the porch light, but we don't use the porch light anymore. But when the husband looks over at the wife or the wife looks at the husband, what that means, Phil, is the person that looks over at the other one is bought in. They're ready to sign a check. They're just looking to the other one for approval. Yeah. And what you do not want is that to happen in front of you. You need to jump in and say, hey, I don't know how it works in your family, but how it works in mine is my wife and I need to talk about things like this. I need to run out and take a couple more pictures. Or if you're selling a bath, say, I need to run back and take some more measurements. Do you think you can do that here in maybe next 5-10 minutes? And it's funny. They look at you like, you do that? Like, no, I want to sit here and watch you argue. No. Yes, but that's the porch light close. And so you just let them know that you're going to come back here in about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And, typically you come back to a check waiting on the table or them wanting to learn more about your financing.
Yeah, I really like that. I think you save a lot of guys from you can't read my mind. I can already hear my wife. So yeah.
And when you're the other way, when you're looking at these, the stalls and excuses, I need to think about it. I never do business the night of. I need to talk to my dad. I need to talk to my son. Got to get 3 other estimates. And I want everybody that is watching this, when they find out that they've got that the homeowner's like, well, you're just going to have to give us some time. We've got 2 other people coming out, and you'll be shocked. Some of you might be shocked to find out they don't have anybody coming out. They just want you to leave the house so that they have the opportunity. But if they are going to give that excuse, you have to know how to deal with it.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
So when you get somebody that tells you, and we shut down the shoppers with a thing called our pledge or our price and value guarantee, it's however you want to call this. So this is going to be inside of your presentation. And in the very last page of our presentation, it's going to be a page, and we let them know that before we jump into the elephant in the room, which is your investment, I want to share with you one of the reasons why I work for this company, why I love this company so much, Phil. And it's our price and value guarantee. And the price and value guarantee, all this is a few years ago, our owner wanted to change the way that people bought home improvement. And he wanted to bring peace of mind back into the home improvement buying process. And the way that he's going to do this is he's allowing you to go ahead and take advantage of all the discounts and incentives that we have available while I'm here. And he's going to let you continue to shop us out until the day of the install. Phil, have you heard anybody that offers that? And it's funny, they look at you like, no. So what it says is that if you find somebody, Phil, that does exactly what we do, you got to notice where I'm putting my pauses. Exactly what we do and exactly how we do it. And they can do all that for less than what I'm about to show you. I need you to bring that back to me in writing, and we'll refund you the difference. Plus, I'm going to give you $100 for the fact that, Phil, you found somebody that I haven't talked to yet or even learned about. And so is that the peace of mind you're looking for when you first called Top Rep Exteriors? And they're looking at it like, well, yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So knowing that I'm gearing up for this right now, and when they say, well, you're just going to have to give us some time. We got a couple more people coming out. Hey, I get it. No problem. I'll give you as much time as you need, Phil. And so you mentioned that you have a couple other people coming out. When are they coming out? You know what most people do? Who do you got coming out? I don't give a damn who's coming out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. I
Exactly.
mean, it could be our biggest competitor, and I really don't care. But I'm going to ask, so when are these other people coming out? And this is when we find out, well, they'll probably be here by the end of next week, which means they have nobody coming out. But if they say, well, we've got one coming next week and one coming the week after. All right. So if within the next, I don't know, 14 to 20 days, Phil, you got your estimates and you put them all out
Mhm.
on the table. I mean, what criteria are you going to use to pick which contractor you're going to go with?
Yeah.
And typically they'll say, well, it might be coming down to price. Every now and again, they'll say it's going to come down to who's got the best value,
Yeah.
which makes things a little bit easier. But when they say it comes down to price, I say, hey, I get it. I'm sure we can find a couple of guys standing outside of Home Depot. We can find some secondhand materials to put it. I'm thinking we can get this thing done here pretty cheap, Phil. And they're like, no. We want it with good quality. So I'm guessing what you're telling me is that you want value. You want the best value. Yeah. So you want the best products and service for the lowest price you can find. Is that right? And they're like, yeah, awesome. Phil, just like I told you not long ago, that you're always going to be able to find somebody that can do it cheaper. However, you're going to be really hard pressed to find somebody that can do it cheaper and still be able to do it right the first time. Does that make sense? And they're going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember me talking about our price and value guarantee just a minute ago? And you really seem to like that. Yeah. Do you think that we'd put our money where our mouth is if we hadn't already done our homework, Phil? And they're looking at you like, well, yeah, I guess not. So if the investment itself is fair and flexible, what does another contractor have to tell you that I haven't already mentioned today?
Yeah.
Nothing, I guess.
Nothing. Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's check off that to-do box. Let's get this thing done. And if you find somebody, I expect that phone call, okay? They're like, yeah, you got your driver's license on you. Let's see if we can't get this trade partner going. So again, we have something to say about everything. I've got a coach myself. Everybody's got a coach. And my coach is a guy by the name of Chris Balls. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah.
the book.
Never
So
split the
he's been coaching me for a while. He doesn't coach me as much as he was as about last year when we went through a whole 6-month stint with him. But we do a lot of mirroring and labeling. And we teach mirroring and labeling to people that get tongue-tied. If they get into something and their mind goes blank, just go straight to a mirror. The price is too much. Yeah, man, I got a daughter that's getting married. I got a son that's graduating high school, going to college. I just don't, man, this is just not a good time. Oh, so it sounds like it's not that it's too much. It's just too much right now. Is that right, Phil? And they're like, well, yeah. So what I just did is I mirrored because, I lost my mind when the homeowner told me I was way too much. And then they justified it by telling me that they had all these other bills coming up and it's just not a good time. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the value, they just don't see paying what I'm asking, down here to timing. But I have to move them to that. So that's why I say, well, it sounds like it's not that it's too much. It's just that it's too much right now. And they're like, yeah. So when the fact that you had us out, you had to know how you were going to try and pay for this. Do you mind if I ask what that is? Oh man, I'm going to be getting a bonus. I'm going to pay for this with the bonus. Wow. So when are you guys going to get this bonus? It's going to be here in the next couple of months. When you say the next couple of months, is that September, October? It's going to be at the end of October. Oh, wow. So Phil, what you're telling me is that if I was sitting in front of you in November right now, we'd be doing business? And they look at you like, yeah, I really look forward to that. Let me ask you, if there was a way that I could go ahead and get this all done now, and I don't need anything from you until you get that money, is that possibly something you might be interested in?
Yep.
So again, you always have something to say. And everything that we teach inside of Top Rep, none of it's hard. It's not like all the sales gimmicks that we learned back in the day, all the neuro-linguistic programming BS. from way back in the day. Because if you were to try to pull that stuff today, homeowners will call you on the carpet so fast. It's crazy how that old stuff has been played out. And we do the same concept. What we've done is modernized it and then back it up with data, because we've partnered with a company called Rilla.
Yeah,
And now we have over 1.5 million recordings through Rilla that we know who the top performers are. We know who the average folks are. We know who the poor performers are. And we take this data and we can, by categorizing these people, these sales reps, we know what category somebody's going to be in based on the way that they talk, by the way that they present. We can see that. So
that's
it's
right.
not just looking at DISC and Myers-Briggs and all that. We already know that what the top sales reps in the company do, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. So we had Sebastian on our show. I'll put this show down below in the show notes if anyone wants to check it out. It's an amazing tool, but even more importantly for you, Chuck, and anyone that's a coach, is it basically gets rid of ride-alongs, so you don't have to actually go out and sit there. You can just get all of the ride-along data, and
Yeah.
then it also, like your words per minute, all that kind of stuff. I think it's great. One of the things that I heard you mention on one of the episode podcasts I was listening to that you were on was that selling finance is an art. And I think a lot of times in the trades, there can be a stigma of like, you're beneath me, so you need financing. And it can be hard for people to offer that. So
Right.
can you talk through, because you had a really good
Mm-hmm.
structure of talking through selling financing. Can you explain what that sounds like?
We try not to mention the F word
Yeah.
if we can, but if you have to, if they bring it up and they ask about financing, or you bring up some sort of finance language and they're like, oh, no, we don't finance. I get it. I totally understand. We have 3 different types of people that finance through, that use financing or use other people's money. And the first person, and because you know who you're talking to, the first type of customer that uses a lot of financing are cash buyers. They don't want to tie up their money. They'd rather use the financing, and we just use same as cash. That way you're not actually paying for the financing at all. And then the second type of client that uses financing, these are people that they've saved up for the project and they find out that they just didn't save up enough. They found out it's a little bit more than what they thought. So they just need a little bit of help. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's that third. And you always put yourself in that so that they don't feel bad if that's them. And then there's the third. And this is my kind of people. If it's a roof or something that it just popped up, I don't have the money for it, and I'm going to need all the money. I'm going to need to finance every bit of this. And so, which is it for you? Is this something where you're looking for a lower payment? Is it more so that you can use other people's money and then you can pay that off however you want to?
Yeah,
Which
I think, and this goes to that example with the guy that's waiting for the bonus check in September. It's like, hey, you could use this and get 0% financing, and you could kind of pitch it that way. That's right, like
Yep.
that. Yeah, and so then when they say, hey, yeah, I'm this type of person, then it's pretty easy. Like, give me your driver's license and get the process going. Is
Yeah.
that right?
And we started quite a while ago. We started calling financing trade partners.
Yeah, I heard you mention that, and I was like, okay,
Hey, we have a trade partner that allows you to do just that.
yeah,
And so we stay away from payments. We stay away from the financing, language. And when people are like, man, I just didn't think it would be that much. I'm like, it sounds like you just need a little bit of help. And they're
yeah,
like, yeah, we have a lot of people that are in this position, and we have a trade partner that allows them,
mm,
because of situations like this, just a simple, quick and easy bridge loan just to get you over the hump. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to ask them. I'm telling them that's the way
yeah,
we're going to
yeah. That's going to be the best thing for you. My recommendation is this. Um, Okay, that makes sense. So another thing that I wanted to touch on. So obviously you do one-on-one coaching, you coach sales teams, but you also have a really cool boot camp that you
go.
run. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that's pretty unique to sales coaching of any sort.
Yeah. So the boot camp that we have, we do one in August, which the one in August coming up is the 19th and 20th. It's in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And then the next one, so it's always in February and August. We have 2 boot camps a year. They do fill up. We limit it to 300 contractors, and but we do sell it out every single time. And the reason why is because of the experience that the contractors get. So they bring their sales team and they bring their leadership team, because it's 2 different ways of us training you.
Hmm.
We're going to train your sales staff on the steps of the sale, but then we're also going to take the leaders when we're in what we call the dog fights, which is where the sales reps are actually going to use what they've learned 6 times throughout those 2 days.
Hmm.
And so we're going to take the sales leaders and owners, we're going to take them into a different room, and we're going to train them on how to lead their team. It was no accident the way that I came in and I led my teams, whether it was Bath Fitter, Able and Mr. Roof, same thing at American Weather Tech when we shot up, 12 million in 6 months. It's all based on how you lead your team. And not to go down a rabbit hole, but when I say lead your team, most people think I'm just talking about my sales team. No, my team is the phone team, the
Yeah.
marketing team, because without them, I don't have leads unless
Exactly.
I have a door knocking organization. So, but we'll not go down that rabbit hole.
No,
But
very cool. So as far as coaching, because a lot of business owners listen to this show and they're looking at, okay, I got salespeople. What are some of obviously close rate and that kind of stuff, but what are some of the numbers that you're coaching people to look at or yeah, holding their people accountable, training? What is some of those things?
So we look at the KPIs that I like to look at. I first look at my NSLI, that's net sale per lead issued. So your NSLI, some people call it their slugging average, their Nestle, but that has your close rate, your average sale, and your profitability all wrapped up in one big number. And
Okay.
if it's off, then we start to drill down. But what I'm looking at, like on close rate, I have my close rate and my adjusted close rate. I very seldomly let sales reps know that I'm actually looking at an adjusted close rate, because they're going to play games. Sales reps are sales reps.
What's an
And
adjusted? How is it adjusted?
so my close rate is, if they ran it, it's on the books.
Yeah.
And then I look at what they issued versus what they sold. That's an actual close rate. My adjusted close rate takes out finance turndowns. It might take out if they got porched at the door. The fact that it was a rental, we couldn't do the work. Those types of things.
I
We'll
got
actually
you.
take that out, because now I really want to do a deep dive on my team. Sometimes that close rate can be a little skewed. And the reason why is because maybe somebody had just a bad batch of appointments come
Yeah.
out. And that adjusted close rate will show that. Also, their sit or demo rate is very, very important. So you want to know, did they give a price in the house? And a sales rep that is giving pricing underneath of 75%, either it's the sales rep, they don't know how to get through an appointment, or it's the phone room, they're sending us out on calls we shouldn't be on. But we don't start casting blame. We start doing research.
Yeah. I think that's really important. A lot of times we get the data, but one of the listener questions I asked a bunch of listeners, and they said, how long should you give a sales rep, a shot? And it's like, okay, well, you have the data, but you can't just go blaming people, but you have to uncover the issue and work together as a team, I would imagine.
Right. Now, when you say give them a shot for a rehash or what?
Give them a shot, as your sales rep.
Okay.
You give them 6 months, and if you can't figure out how to get over 75%, buddy, you're out of here,
So
But,
we give them 60 days up front, and we can extend it to 90 days to make a decision on a rep.
okay. And what is it really come down to, that NSPLI number, or what are you looking at as far as gauging them? Yeah.
It's all, so your numbers are going to tell a story.
Yeah.
And what I mean by this is, I had a sales rep that when I came into one of the organizations, I'm not going to say which one, they said, man, this guy is one of our top guys. We give him a lot of leads and he just closes them. And I started looking at the numbers. I'm like, all right, I see it. And I mean, he was selling consistently anywhere between 140 and $300,000 a month. I'm like, wow, that's really good. And went to the close rate, and his close rate was pretty good. He fluctuated between 45 and 60%. I'm like, that's not bad. I like that. And while we're going through these numbers, something was just odd. And I pulled my own numbers because the number they didn't pull was profit. It
Mm,
wasn't profitable. So he
mm.
sold a lot.
Yeah,
They gave
close
all these
knowledge.
leads.
Yeah.
And he was underneath. I'll tell you, anything under 30% gross margin is unprofitable.
Mm,
And that should always go to, well, I'm not going to say that. I never like to say always. That should typically be a house deal. Anything under 30% should be a house deal.
yep.
Your sales reps don't know how to sell and they're discounting everything. I mean, that's you built that beast.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so that makes sense. You had a guy, he's closing everything, but not profitable, which is why you want to track your profitability on all the
It
jobs.
tells a story.
Yeah,
You got to
tells the
know
story.
what you're. So to answer their question, what we're actually looking at is more on the close rate side. When we're looking at that first 60 to 90 days, we are really focused in on the close rate. The profitability, one thing that we have stopped is sales reps that can run amok with pricing.
Mm,
Everything is standard pricing now. I mean, there's Leap and Sumo Quote, and there's all these other. I think most CRMs will even
yeah.
do it now. And so your sales rep should not have say on what that price is in that house. They
Mm,
pull up the pricing and they're to sell it at that pricing. Now, if you have a drop that they're allowed to do because you have some sort of marketing discount or whatever, then that's fine. But again, it should be a very calculated drop, and that drop should be your actual pricing. So, your profitability should not be hurting.
yeah.
If it is, again, you built that beast.
Yeah. And this goes back to kind of standardizing the process. One guy can't be, oh, I get that for 10%, another 20%, silliness.
Right.
This kind of goes to the next question, actually. So, what's the best way that you've seen or would recommend structuring salespeople, like base plus commission, 60 days straight commission, draws? I mean, there's a million ways to slice it, but what have you seen to be the best?
I'm always a fan of commission only. When they first start, I like to give them anywhere between $500 and $1,000 a week.
Hmm.
And that should not be more than 4 weeks. If your training is more than 4 weeks, you need to go find a different trainer.
Yeah.
There is nothing in home improvement that should take over 4 weeks. I know
Yeah.
some people will disagree with me. And again, they need a different trainer or a different system. But, after that, I would recommend that you go full commission. What the trend is right now, because of some of the legislation that's coming down,
Mm.
uh, guys, and I hope everybody that's listening to this, 1099 is a thing of the past. They are coming after you, and they don't care how big or how small you are. They are coming after you. And so, what we're hearing a lot of right now is that if your sales reps get more than 60% or 60% or more of their income from your organization, you must W-2 them.
Yeah.
And that's coming, and it's going to be here by the end of the year. I don't know what the exact date on that is, but that is changing a lot of how people are paying. So the average commission right now, it used to be anywhere between 10 and 20%. Now it's between 6 and 8. That's how dialed down
Wow.
this thing is, because all the organizations are now paying for all the insurance. And I mean, it's crazy what these organizations are having to pay for now.
Yeah.
Because
Like vehicles,
yeah,
cell phones, like that's tied into some compensations.
right. And we all know that W-2, they took away all the deductions for W-2. So now you also should compensate, pay for, do something for their gas, mileage, car, whatever you want to do, because the sales reps cannot deduct that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, now they're on their own for that. And, if you have sales reps that are paying for their own, they won't be for long, because I promise you they're looking elsewhere already. I
Yeah.
promise you they're looking elsewhere.
Yeah. And then the last listener question that I had, we talked about this offline a little bit. I hopped on one of our sales calls before this, and it was with a client, and she does windows and doors. She was saying, what should I say when I get resistance about political nerves before an election? Like, hey, I'm nervous about getting this done because X, Y, and Z is coming up. So what would you say to that?
Remember that this is your house. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell the homeowner, that remember that this is your house. It's not a pair of jeans. It's not a bunch of stuff that you really don't need.
Yeah.
If you were to tell me you don't need a roof, you wouldn't have me here. Am I right? And they're like, yeah. And so the fact that you are already having roofing companies come out, the fact that you are already having remodeling companies come out for whatever reason, that it's already telling you that you need this. It needs to happen. You saw the mold in the bathroom. You saw the issues you have on your roof. This isn't something that can wait. But again, I understand the fact that you may want to save money because we don't know what's going to happen, because it's an election year. We don't know what the media is going to say, but this is something that you need. Can we agree to this? You have to get the homeowner to agree to that. Or we're going to do the whole Chris Voss. I'm going to get them to say no, but that no means a yes. And, I'm guessing that there's no reason that you can't get this thing done inside of an election year. It's just that you choose to wait on this. Do you think it's going to be cheaper or more expensive if you decide to wait?
Yeah.
So
that's good. I like giving the unknown a variable. Is going to be cheaper or expensive? Who knows? So might as well do it right now. Yeah, I get that. So with the coaching, let's say you have the boot camp. Hopefully people can make it to that. But I think you also have some AI objection sales training, something like that. Can you talk to that? Because when you mentioned that to me before when we were talking, I was like, man, this is so cool. What is that?
So we have a membership within Top Rep. It's our elite membership. And if you start following us, we're going to be running a promotion on the AI bot. I did not want to do it, but my staff says, Chuck, we got to do this. I'm like, all right. So they're going to have a big promotion on the AI bot. And what this is you can go up against Robert, Jenny, or Nathan. Those are our 3 AI bots. Yeah. And it's a kind of a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And let's say you're in your car and you're like, all right, I've got, 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to go up against Jenny today. And you pull it up on your phone, and, she'll jump on and let you know, hey, thanks for coming out. We really need to take some time to think about this. And it's going to videotape you. It's going to record everything you say, and it's going to score how you do. And it's what I love so much about this is the fact that I don't even know what she's going to say. And we made this thing. We brought this thing to the industry. And so what we're finding out within all the organizations, and we have massive size organizations using this, and we have some very small mom and pop organizations, and they're all saying that this is truly upping their game because there's no homeowner that's going to put them through the paces that those AI bots are going to do. And they use it in their sales meetings. They're going to use it in just the training, because the sales manager can watch and see how many role plays you go through on a daily basis. And so it's not like, hey, Billy, can you meet me in the office, man? I need to bounce, some role play off of you. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to go home and bug your wife. Say, hey, can you throw me some objections? I'm sure she would love to tell you the truth. But, but again, I mean, it gives them that opportunity to practice and practice and practice. And we are seeing massive increases in close rates, and the confidence of the sales reps when they go in. They all say that when they get done with Nathan or Jenny, that homeowner is just putty in their hands.
Literally, I was thinking, because you don't even know what you're going to get from this thing. The homeowner, you're going to get 3 to 4 common objections that are coming through. So that's pretty cool. And so it records your face, and then it scores kind of your demeanor of how you're talking about things.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow.
Even the manager can watch the whole role play if they want.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like the Rilla thing, listening to your stuff, but now you don't have to role play with someone else to knock out some role plays. Right. I love that. What are some other things that y'all have? So you have one-on-one coaching, team coaching, boot camp. AI objection bots, any other cool stuff?
One thing that we do more than anything is we coach sales leaders.
Hmm.
So the one of the most important people to get coaching is the sales leader. It's not even the sales reps.
Yeah.
It's the sales leader. Because if I come in and I teach your sales reps, well, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But if I come in and I teach your sales manager, and all of a sudden that sales manager is coaching their staff,
Of course.
now there's a true camaraderie there. They understand that he knows it. I'd better know it. So it just makes more sense. We also do virtual or we do fractional sales management,
Hmm.
where if you don't have a sales manager or you just want to watch one of our top rated sales managers, they will actually manage your team for a certain period of time. And
Wow.
we have some people where their teams love, like our main one is our COO, which is Mike Alvarado. Everybody loves Mike. And when we have a organization that says, man, Mike is like that addictive drug. When you get him, you don't want to let him go. And
Yeah.
so he'll manage your sales team for you from here in Ohio.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
and he does it through Rilla. So he listens to their Rillas, as well as, he's going to hold a meeting with them once a week. He's going to show them and tell them a little bit about the Rillas that he's been listening to kind of hold them accountable, as well as coming into some coaching and training on that weekly basis. We
That's
only have
awesome.
so much availability for that, but I mean, it fills up fast.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know a lot of people, you get 4 or 5 sales reps and then you're the owner trying to run your sales team and then do that, operations, all that stuff. It gets out of hand pretty quickly. So
Right.
yeah, I could definitely see that. Well, this has been great, Chuck. So how should people get in touch with you? Where should they go to learn about the boot camp and that kind of stuff?
So the easiest way to get a hold of us, especially for the boot camp, is just www.topreptraining.com. And you can either register for the boot camp. You can look at everything else that we do. There's videos in there. You can also look us up on LinkedIn and Facebook. I think I'm on Instagram as well. I don't really get on Instagram much, but we are very, very active inside of Facebook. So they can look me up, Chuck Thokey. Also look us up as Top Rep.
Okay.
We are one of the larger training organizations or coaching organizations inside of the home improvement space, and we stay in our lane. We
Yeah.
don't work with car dealers and all the other. We stay in our lane with home services.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Chuck, it's been great getting to know you, man. And I appreciate you have so much knowledge and wisdom. Thanks for dropping it on us today.
Thank you so much.